Back to the program. First of all, the news broke today. I guess there was a hint of it yesterday from Axios that President Biden is withholding 2,000-pound bombs and 500-pound bombs from Mr. Netanyahu. Your thoughts on that and what's going on right now in Gaza?
Well, I mean, I think it's absolutely the right thing to do, but I think it should only be the first step of a series of measures that need to take place. Look, Tom, I gotta say that almost on a personal level, this war in Gaza has been just a horror, and I almost literally dream about it every night. It's on my mind, and what it's about is, I think we all know the story. We know that Hamas is a terrorist organization that killed 1,200 innocent Israelis, took over 200 people into captivity. They want to establish an Islamic State, destroy Israel. Bad news organization. But I think what we also know is that while Israel had a right to defend itself against Hamas, it did not and does not have a right to go to war against the entire Palestinian people. And that is exactly what Netanyahu and his right-wing extremist government have done. And it's not widely reported, but when you put it all together, the kind of devastation that Netanyahu has brought to Gaza is almost unprecedented in modern world history. You're talking about 35. This is an area of 2.2 million people, small area, small population, 35,000 people already dead, 77,000 wounded. That is over 5% of the entire population dead or wounded, and 70% of those people are women and children. And then when you talk about what's going on in Gaza, there has been a systematic effort on Netanyahu's part to displace 80% of the population, driven from their homes to go to unsafe, unsanitary, crowded areas. Almost 60% of the housing has been damaged or destroyed. Their civilian infrastructure, that's water, electricity, almost completely destroyed. There's no electricity now, or very little, in Gaza. Their healthcare system systematically destroyed. Almost all of the hospitals are now inoperable. And as I understand it, every single one of the universities, 12 universities in Gaza, have been bombed. And you have kids, the overwhelming majority of kids are not going to school right now. So it has been a devastating attack against the poor people. And I think throughout this country, people are standing up and saying, you know what, we cannot continue to fund this right-wing extremist Netanyahu government. And that's how I voted, and that's the fight that I'm waging right now.
What are your thoughts on Speaker Johnson and apparently Chuck Schumer inviting Netanyahu to come speak? I would think typically as a head of state that such an invitation should come from the president. And President Biden doesn't seem to be quite happy about this, although I haven't heard him say anything about it.
Well, I think it's disgraceful. I think Netanyahu is more responsible than anybody else for this horrific war in Gaza right now. Throughout the world, his actions have been condemned. There are, some question about whether or not he's going to be charged as a war criminal. And a pretty strong majority of the American people are very unhappy about his policies in Gaza and his war machine. So why he would be invited to address the United States Congress is something that I do not understand.
Yeah, well, we saw this happen when President Obama was president, and it was just a purely partisan thing, it seems.